I want to thank everybody for tuning in to this week's episode of the Stage is Mine podcast. I'm your host, Terrance Hill, presented to you by doubleetvmedia. This week, my guest, she is a recording artist, an author, and she's an entrepreneur. This week, I want to honor you and present to you Samantha Williams.
Yeah. We gotta rise up. Rise up. Yo. Go for broke, give everything, better yet give your all. They don't wanna see you win, nevertheless you'll evolve. Wanna see my demise, you can be in for a surprise. Cause the sun ain't about to set, now it's about to rise. Come hell or high water, we gotta rise up. Despite the storms of life, man, we gotta rise up.
Samantha, how are you doing?
I'm doing pretty good. How about yourself?
Doing pretty good. It's a privilege and honor to have you on the program today. I want to start off. Tell us a little bit about yourself.
Well, I am originally from Savannah, Georgia. Right now, we live in Virginia Beach, Virginia.
Okay.
I love to minister to others, whether it be music, whether it be words of encouragement, or speaking or writing, whatever it is. I've always had a passion to uplift others. So that's something I love to do. And pretty much that's it.
Yeah.
That's what I do.
Okay. Now, I read in your bio that you've done some traveling overseas. Tell us a little bit about that.
Yeah. So I lived in Seoul, Japan for a year and a half. And it was a really, really great experience. I had the opportunity to sing for a Japanese wedding. I was managed by a company there, and it was a lot of fun, like a lot of different, it was actually American songs, like things like the Fugees, that's like back in the day.
Yeah,
so we sung a lot of stuff like that. It was a great experience. I had the opportunity to sing with Japanese choirs. And we would sing things like, "Oh, happy day," and things like that. We also had the opportunity to visit, Japanese churches and things like that. So it was a great experience to be able to travel and see how they worship. They're very passionate. So it was a great experience.
Powerful. Now, also, I know in your background, as far as everything that you do, I know you're a multitask person and you do a lot of things, but tell us a little bit about your ministry and how you got started in the ministry and what do you do specifically in your ministry?
Okay. So in ministry, I actually, I speak, I sing, I write music. So as a recording artist, I've been doing that for behind others and writing for others, as well as, recording myself. I've been doing that for over 10 years. I've also, I've been speaking for about that same amount of time as well. And so my niche, as some would say, I would say would be young people. I love to minister to youth and to encourage them. I believe healthy children create healthy adults. So that's been a passion for me for a very, very, very long time. I've had the opportunity to be like a youth pastor and different things like that. So it's been really good. So ministry for me is, I would say, geared at young people and especially women, healing and deliverance and just breaking out and becoming who God called us to be as women. Being able to own, our life and take the next step to go wherever God wants us to go.
Yeah. Now, how did you get involved in insurance, and what was it about insurance that drew you towards it?
I think it's pretty much been like that whole helping people type thing. So insurance is very, very, very important to have, because you never know like what would happen. It can be anything from like a sickness or like someone lose their life or anything like that. And if you don't have insurance in place, it can really wreck a person's life. So I definitely, took advantage of the opportunity to help others and to educate them on the benefits of having insurance. And so I've been doing insurance for about 6 or 7 years. Okay. But I've just expanded to be able to actually do insurance for businesses, or to do like critical illness, cancer plans, things like that. I do life insurance, health insurance. I work with the marketplace. So people who are unable to afford insurance, like I'm also here to help them to see if we can get them a stipend to lower the cost of insurance for them. So I'm definitely, trying to expand so I can help people in any way possible.
Now, what do you enjoy most about being a insurance agent? Is the aspect of helping people or educating people?
I would say, yeah, especially when something happens and then that person has to use the insurance, then it's like, oh my God, if you didn't have that, then just think about, what could have happened. So I definitely, love the part of, helping people. And then a lot of times I can make my own schedule, or, it's convenient as far as how I can help people and how I can really do things on my
own. Tell us the importance of health and life insurance.
Well, life insurance is definitely important. Like some people even use, and people don't think about this, but life insurance is also used to, it can be like a savings account. We have a lot of plans that works with the 501c3. You're like putting things out like in the stock and things like that. Like our plans, it can work with that. So you're investing whenever you do life insurance. You're pretty much investing. Some people choose to get $30,000. Some people may choose 60. Some people may choose 200,000 because they want to set up their family in a place that pretty much they've never been before, or to sustain with where they are. So life insurance can be used in many different ways, many different investments. You can even borrow against it. So like say if you have a 2-year-old or a 1-year-old or a baby and you get life insurance, by the time they're able to go to college, that child will be able to get money out for college. Or like by the time they're wanting to buy a house, they will be able to take money out to help them buy their house. So it's really an investment, and it's a pretty good investment because, it saves money for you, it gives you interest, but at the same time, like if something happened to you, your family's all taken care of. So that's pretty good on how it works with life insurance. With health insurance, it's, oh my goodness, like with health insurance, like people a lot of times don't go to the doctor because they don't have health insurance. And with your sicknesses, if you keep up with what's going on, you have your yearly checkups, you do things like that, which if you have health insurance, then your yearly checkups are usually free. Anything preventative, they're free. So when you do those things, it's easier to catch things up front. So like those sicknesses that people go into and they find out, oh my God, I have cancer, I have stage, 5 or 4, or they're like up there. So it's harder to get treatment and to heal from things when you've waited and waited and waited. So when you catch things like earlier, you get it detected and things like that, and you're going to the doctor on the regular, it really helps. It makes a big difference on keeping up with your health.
Right.
So I definitely encourage health insurance as well.
Yeah, for sure. Procrastination can definitely be costly. Is health and life insurance? I know you kind of touched on this earlier, but just want to specify this for people so they can know about it. Is life and health insurance affordable? Because all the time, most of the times we start talking about insurance policies or other things, people always want to know what's the cost going to be associated with it.
Yeah, it is affordable when you think about how much we pay for certain foods, or we pay for a pair of shoes. Like putting away $100 a month for your insurance can literally save you thousands of dollars.
Yeah.
So like say for life insurance, say you only want 50,000. Like if you're in your 30s or 40s, it may only cost like $40 or $50 a month. That's affordable. That's right. A pair of shoes or clothing or whatever you may, be trying to get.
Right.
And then like for health insurance, like I said, if you're unable to afford it and you fit the brackets of the marketplace, then you can get a stipend to help you with health insurance. Other than that, health insurance is going to run you, it can be anywhere from 100 to, I would say like 300 for an individual. Now, that compared to $3,000 and $5,000, that's a big difference. So
Right.
it definitely is affordable. I had a surgery on my foot, and I really did not know how much the surgery was. I only had to pay $1,000 because of my deductible and because of some other things. But the surgery I found out was actually over $20,000.
Oh, wow.
Yeah. And so when I looked at it, I had no idea because they communicated with the insurance company, the doctors. But I wouldn't be able to get that surgery. Like, who has $20,000 laying around just to pay for their foot?
Right, right.
Not going to happen. So it's very, very helpful to have.
Okay. Now, if someone is uninsured, what's step one? What's the first thing that they should do?
Step one is just simply reach out to an insurance agent like myself via phone, email, and just tell them, hey, I need insurance. I'm dealing with this, this, and this, and this, so that we can find a way to meet your needs. We never want to put you into an insurance plan that doesn't meet your needs, because then you wouldn't have, pretty much what you need. So
Right.
Definitely just reaching out. And then that's the first step. And once you just take that first step, then you can find out what you need to do, the budget, to balance, to do whatever you need to do, and then see how that insurance agent can help you with getting the best rate for you as well.
Right. Yeah. I mean, I know being, growing up in church myself, a lot of times when some certain people die, they don't have life insurance, and, the church, they got to try to raise money, or stuff has to go on. Like, what disasters have you seen in your experience of people not being insured? And what have you seen over the years?
I've literally seen people have to foreclose on their mortgage. I've seen so many different things, and I've seen the good and the bad. So I would see, I had a family member who didn't have insurance, and I have another family member who's literally still paying on it. And this person died over 6 years ago. And so the other family member is still paying on the bill. And it's it's to have for a funeral, it costs anywhere from $10,000 to $16,000.
Yeah.
And that's just for the funeral. Some people don't have a grave site. Some people don't have, that other, the transportation and all the other medical things that comes into play.
Right.
So it can get really, really pricey. So I've seen, people have to, do so much to pay those bills. Now, when my dad died, he had gotten sick before he can get more insurance, but he had about, I would say 10 to 15,000 that he had from a long time ago. And if I could just express how much easier it was to just sit down as a family and to get everything taken care of. And we didn't have to worry, the pain of someone dying is enough.
Yeah.
People should not have to worry about you dying, as well as, man, where we're going to get this money to pay to bury them and to keep our life going on.
Right.
So
yeah,
it
exactly.
can really damage. Yeah.
Yeah, there's a lot of drama that comes along with funerals, and I've seen even the most basic funeral. I mean, really no luxury stuff can still run upwards $7,000-8,000. So you're absolutely right.
Yeah.
Well, all the commercials that come on TV, you see a lot of commercials, people selling life insurance and stuff like that. Educate the audience right now. Tell us the difference between term and whole life insurance.
Whole life.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm. And there's another one. It's called universal life. It's kind of in between term and whole.
Okay.
But for term life, that's pretty much say you're buying insurance. Most people get it for if they have a mortgage. And so say I would buy $200,000 for about 10 years, because that's how long my mortgage is going to be. After that 10 years, that term life disappears. So you don't have anything after that 10 years. Now, some companies, they'll do the premium paybacks. So they'll pay you back your premiums if you don't use it within that 10 years, but it depends on the company. So, but term life is pretty much for a specific term And after it's done, it's done. And so it is a lot cheaper than having whole life. Whole life is the one that, when I told you about, like, say if you have children and you are trying to save up some money, whole life will actually give you the interest, and you build up cash value where you can borrow against it. And it just, it's handy for you. It'll be a little more, but if you're younger, then it can be like $20, $15, $30 a month, depending on how old you are. But whole life carries you for the rest of your life, and that rate is usually locked in. So like, say if it's $20 at, age 21, then it's going to be $20. You'll pay $20 for the rest of your life. Now, that same policy for a 60-year-old can be like $100 a month. So it's best to get it when you're younger.
Right.
But whole life is more than term life. And then, universal life is the in-between. It's pretty much, it does everything that the whole life policy does, builds that cash value. It gives you the interest and everything, but you can run it however long you want to run it. So it gives you that pretty much that in between. And so if you want to run it for like age 80 or something like that, then it'll run for that long.
What was your experience during 2020 and even parts of this year dealing with COVID-19 and the pandemic and, shutdowns and stuff like that? How have you been doing that, and also your family as well?
We've been doing pretty good. We've been shut in, and it's been a lot I've had a lot of family members that passed away or that got sick and things like that.
Sorry about that.
Yeah, but it's been a lot on people, like, I feel like mentally and emotionally, because you can't see each other and all of those things. But it's been good because we've been trying to stay safe and things like that. And we video chat and all of that. But it's been pretty good. And I would say, like, people are more aware of insurance now because they're like, oh, I know, if I catch that, then what else, So the only thing is that with some insurance plans, they don't cover COVID yet. With that being said, I mean, some people are just calling in to, oh, do you cover, COVID? No, not yet. It depends. But as far as my family and everything, it's been going pretty good. I can't complain.
That's great. Now, your bio also speaks of you wanting to encourage people spiritually, mentally, and physically. So what have you been doing in those areas through your outreach and you traveling, going out, speaking, and, doing all the things that you do? What are you doing right now to encourage people in those areas?
I definitely cut back a lot after the pandemic hit. But as far as like speaking and encouraging others, I do a lot of posts pretty much like on Facebook and Instagram, things like that. And every once in a while I'll do a blog. But I definitely love to encourage people to have hope, because hope, man, if you can just grasp the fact of having hope, then I feel like you can tackle anything, because you know that there's a light at the end of the tunnel. So I feel like a lot of times people want to give up because they can't see, like, how in the world. I remember when I was in depression and I would think, like, how am I going to get out of this? I'll never get out of this. And then I had gotten to a place where I was like suicidal. And to think that I was like that and I was so deep in the church, I can't imagine how other people feel, especially in a pandemic, Yeah. So I love to encourage others, and sometimes I'll send out a singing video or different things like that. But, as a speaker, I love, going out speaking and drawing in, the reality of what we go through now, and, kind of laying it out for people to understand the word of God and for them to, believe.
Yeah. Now, what are you seeing in the areas of mental health?
Mental health. I was actually planning on doing an event in September, but because of the heights of the pandemic, I'm thinking about rescheduling it. Okay. But as far as mental health, I'm really, really big on that because it's something that I dealt with. I felt like people didn't take me seriously. So I want to help in making that more aware, especially in the church, because people say pray, 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 and they don't really think about, okay, well, how can a person pray when they're mentally like battling with themselves inside of their heads?
Yeah.
Like, and even if you do say a prayer, like sometimes that doesn't stop your disbelief. You really have to tackle like the root of everything. And like caring for your mental health and all of that is so important because it affects your whole life. I remember when I was dealing with depression, like it affected my finances, like how I work. It affected so many things in my life, which caused, and I was thinking about this the other day. I was like, I wonder if people would end up, so many people are homeless right now. And I was thinking like, what if mentally they believed in themselves, or like, what if they were going through mentally and then that caused them to be homeless? Because when I was going through, I'm like, dang, this affected my whole life. So what if we could help people with their mental health, and then could help with the homelessness? So I was thinking about that the other day, and I'm like, geez,
right.
And it's just so important. And so I'm definitely taking a stand with even the National Association of Suicide Prevention and Mental Health and stuff like that. I've been reaching out and getting involved and things like that because people need to be aware that is so important.
This is just some of the things that I've seen, and then you can just kind of, take the torch from there and run with it. But some of the things that I've seen in those areas of mental health or people dealing with depression, a lot of times, sometimes people are dealing with underachievement. Maybe they had some goals that they set out to do and they were not able to accomplish that. Maybe they went to school and majored in something and they're working in a total different career.
Yeah.
It could be marriage stuff. Sometimes it's like devastating things that may come, and they have like a vision for what they want in their lives, and something devastating would come and just hit them out of nowhere. And sometimes it's very tough just to kind of process that particular information, or to I had this vision, this is what I wanted to do, and all these things transpired. What have you seen when you go out and speak and you're meeting people across the country in various states and they're dealing with depression or mental health issues? What have you seen on your end?
That's exactly what I've seen. You feel like you are pretty much not good enough, or you feel like you haven't done enough, or you haven't reached where, the goal that you've tried to reach. I've seen that like so many times. And the thing is, when I went through counseling, I went through this counseling called theophostic counseling. And he said that one of the beliefs in the counseling is that you have to replace the lie of the enemy with the truth of God. So whenever the enemy tells me, or I have these thoughts in my mind that, oh, I'm not good enough, or I didn't reach the goal, I'll never get there. You have to replace it with something. You rebuke it, you release it, and then you replace it with the fact that I still can keep going because God didn't give up on me. Or you replace it with something that gives you hope, letting you know that, hey, I still can do it. It's never too late. A lot of people say delay is not denial. God still works miracles, in God's timing. You have to replace it with something so that you can give yourself the strength to keep going, because you never know. You could have been right there in front of the blessing that you wanted.
Right. What made you want to become an author?
I believe that I just like to write. So I felt like this was my purpose. People walk around like, oh, I found my purpose. I felt like writing is my purpose. And even though I struggled with it, because a lot of times, before, I'm more aware of it now, like I wasn't secure in my writing, but I was good at it. And I wasn't secure in it because I didn't, a lot of times I would miss my commas or miss different things like that. And so it would make me like, oh no, I don't want to write. But, you have people that can edit. So, there's so many excuses we put out for ourselves, but there's so many things that we can do to, make it right. So, writing is so, I'm so passionate about it. I love writing. I've always liked to write stories, little stories when I was younger, or make up stories in my head, and like I'm writing a movie or something like that. So my first book is actually a fiction book, and then my second book is a children's book, and then my third book, it talks about suicide, and that's pretty much about testimonies and things like that.
Right. And those books are, is it Christian Woman?
Hidden Secrets of a Christian Woman.
Okay.
And that's the fiction book. And then Little Mikey Joe, that's the children's book. And then Suicide that's the testimonial.
Okay. And what's your writing style? You're old school, you like to pen and paper, you like to type it out on your laptop?
Oh, I type it out.
Type it out?
Yeah.
Okay. Yeah.
Yeah, I feel like you're gonna have to type it out anyway, so might as well do that.
Now, what do you love about music? For those who are watching, she is a powerful recording artist. So tell us about your music and your albums as well.
So my music is pretty much, it's my testimony. Like I write about things that I go through. I write about things that the Lord tell me. My last project is called the I Live Project. And it's pretty much when I was going through that depression. So I have songs about my testimony, and then I have worship songs about worshiping God, even through, and then just making yourself available for God to use you. Like, it's just so many different things on there. It's a lot of different, it's diverse. It's very diverse.
Yeah.
So yeah.
You have any music that you're working on right now?
I do. I have some music that I'm working on right now. It's actually called Delivery Room, kind of like a worship encouragement type song.
Okay.
And it's pretty much talking about there's no more miscarriages. And the Lord spoke that to me a while back. There's no more miscarriages. God is here to help you give birth to what he's doing in your life. And so that song I actually wrote it like years ago. So a couple of years ago. So I'm ready to release it. Definitely working on it, and pretty excited about it.
Yeah, it's very powerful. I like the whole theme of it. Before we close out, I want to ask you just a couple more questions. Share with the audience very quickly the testimony pertaining to your daughter.
My daughter, yes. So that was a part of the Delivery Room song. And so my daughter, a lot of times, when I was going through my depression, I'll say that. Actually, me and her dad, we were actually great friends. And we dated here and there. But at the time, we were friends, and I had, conceived my daughter. And I kind of, I pulled back and everything like that before, I got pregnant with her. But when I got pregnant with her, I went to the hospital because I was feeling weak, and I was feeling like, oh my goodness, I actually thought that I was about to die. So I was just like, Lord, I don't know what's going on. Please forgive me for my sins, Lord Jesus, if I'm dying today. But when I got there, they were like, you were pregnant, but they said that you are having a miscarriage. They told me that they couldn't find the baby. They believed that some of the baby had already dropped out. So I was like, okay. They gave me the medication to take, and they sent me home. On my records, it said miscarriage. So I went home, and I just was kind of like, honestly, I was in worship, and I was thinking like, okay, God, all right. And so then the Lord spoke to me a few days later. He said, no more miscarriages. And I had never been pregnant before or anything like that. So I didn't understand it quite then. And then I went to the hospital a few days later, and then the doctor actually saw it on the documents where it said that I had a miscarriage. And she sat down next to me, and she just kind of placed her hand, next to mine. And she was like, you're pregnant. I heard the heartbeat. And I was just like, whoa. I was like, are you serious? She was like, yeah. And so God started speaking to me, and I feel like that was kind of my reborn type situation on believing in him. Like, how can a life in me be dead? And then all of a sudden you tell me that there's no miscarriage, and then it's alive. And you heard the heartbeat. Like that's just, it was just so powerful to me. And it helped me to believe even more, and to step out of that depression, and to really look to God, for everything, to lay myself out on the table, vulnerable to him, in spite of, what people think or what I was going through, like, to really know that God is a God that can heal, deliver, and he doesn't give up on us, regardless of how many times we want to give up on ourselves. He doesn't give up on us. And he's, waiting to push us forward. He's waiting to give us what the things that we desire, but the timing has to be in our hearts, in our position where we are spiritually and mentally, emotionally. It has to be right for God to be able to release to us what he wants, because we would honestly mishandle so much if he just gave it to us. So I definitely believe that was that experience was his way of waking me up, and showing me that he, it doesn't matter what we call dead. When he's ready for it to live, and he calls for it to live, it's going to live.
Now, how many days from you getting the news that you had miscarried to you finding out that you were still pregnant?
It was within like a week or so. Like, it was like it wasn't far out. It was just so strange.
So emotionally, you were probably just devastated for that whole week or whatever. And then to find out, that's crazy. Yeah.
Yeah, it was an experience.
Yeah, that's very powerful. Yeah. So it was like, a lot of times when you think it's over with, or you may assume that, man, so maybe somebody's devastated. They started a business or something that they're going through. And, even myself, I can speak on, me and my wife had separated last year, and, and everything just worked out where we were able to reconcile. So, anyone who's watching right now, whatever it is you're going through, maybe you've lost a business or something that you just feel like is so devastating, just keep going, keep moving forward. Right. You will accomplish what you set out to do. So it's a very powerful story. And, I see all the pictures with you and your daughter. She's very beautiful. So I know you're a good mom, and you're doing all that you can for her. So that's powerful. What are your future plans for the rest of 2021?
2021, we're definitely going to focus on the suicide prevention and mental health. Definitely reaching out and doing things in that area to help others overcome through the pandemic, and throughout their lives, because our lives have really changed. I would say a year ago. So but definitely suicide prevention, mental health that's where my heart is, and that's what we're going to do for the rest of the year. I do have some singing engagements and things like that I'm going to take very, very carefully when it comes to going out to see, how many people are there, all kind of stuff like that. But definitely going to be singing and doing things like that. So
yeah. Now you're in Virginia Beach, correct?
Yes, Virginia Beach, Virginia.
Okay, so what is it like living there?
I love it. It's so diverse, and like it's so much to do.
Yeah.
Like, it's so much to just, like, for children and for families. It's always something to do. And that's what I love about here. Like, I'm from Savannah, Georgia, and it's like a lot of times there's nothing to do. So I'm just like, being here, I have a lot of fun. Even just walking outside and just seeing people.
Yeah, right.
Yes, because you see so many different types of people, and it's just so much that's going on. So I love it here.
Yeah. So I definitely appreciate you coming on the program today. Before we close out, I do this in every show. I'm going to throw a couple rapid fire questions at you, and you just answer to the best of your capability.
Okay.
All right. Hot or cold?
Hot.
Your favorite food?
Broccoli.
Broccoli. Okay.
Yeah.
With cheese or no cheese?
With cheese. I
with
need
cheese.
cheese.
Okay. I don't even like cheese, but I can eat cheese with broccoli. It's weird. And I do like pizza. So that's the only two things I eat cheese on. When I'm not working, I'm
Writing, singing, playing with my daughter, like anything like that.
My biggest influence is?
I would say the Clark sisters or Tasha Cobbs now.
My calling in life is?
To help people, to give hope to others.
Okay. Favorite recording artist?
Yeah, the Clark sisters, Tasha Cobbs.
The first thing I do in the morning is?
Definitely thank God for my day.
Okay. All right. And last but not least, I want my legacy to be?
That I never gave up.
Samantha, thank you so much for coming on the podcast today. Your story and testimony and just everything has been so uplifting and encouraging, and just keep doing what you're doing. Anybody that's interested in your books, your albums, or even insurance, how can they contact you? Give them your website, phone number, social media contact information.
SamanthaDWilliams.com is my website. You can also reach me via email, info@SamanthaDWilliams.com. My Facebook name, you can find me at Samantha Dionne, Dionne Williams, or Samantha D. Williams. And Instagram, it is iamSamanthadwilliams.
Awesome. Well, thank you so much for coming on the podcast today. And I look forward to seeing all the great things that you're going to do for the rest of this year and beyond.
Amen. Thank you so much. You guys have a great day.
Oh, you too. Thank you.
Bye.
I want to thank everybody for their support. Those of you that have been watching all of our podcasts. If you're interested in donating to the Stage is Mine podcast, you can send that two ways, via PayPal or Cash App. Our Cash App is Sterryfromthaa, and our PayPal is doubleetvmedia101. Support this machine today to help us continue to do what we're doing. Also, if you're interested in becoming a sponsor of the Stage is Mine podcast, email me today at doubleetv@yahoo.com or call 334-498-5394. Thank you very much. I want to thank you for tuning in to today's program. Be sure to hit that like, subscribe, and notification bell for all things pertaining to the Stage is Mine podcast. Until next time, take care.
Go for broke, give everything, better yet, give your all. They don't want to see you win, nevertheless, show evolve. Want to see my demise, you can be in for a surprise, cause the sun ain't about to set.